What's up, guys? Zaid here, and today I'm with my boy Super GX. What'd you do?
I went undefeated with my favorite deck of all time, Phantom Knights.
How big was your locals?
My locals, it's not very big. It usually the highest the most rounds that we usually go is four. Our biggest number is usually only about like 20 players.
That's
So
not
it's
bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not like as big as like the other like locals you'll see like on the big YouTube channels or anything like that. But it's not bad at all.
And real quick though, before we get into the list, for the people watching, make sure you check out his YouTube channel, Super GX on YouTube, and the link will be in the description below.
Thank you, thank you.
Do you want to hop right in the list, or do you have any shout outs or anything you want to do first?
Um, yeah, I have a few shout outs. Shout outs to the best player at my locals, Ricardo. When I was first building this list, he just like threw a bunch of cards at me. Like shout out to him. He sort of helped mold it in its first build in its first few builds. And then shout out to my friend Jace, my playtesting partner. Uh, he plays Tri Brigade, so I get a lot of playtesting. So that was actually that actually helped me out in one of my matchups in the locals. Was being able to playtest against him helped me just destroy that deck. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it.
Oh, hell yeah, let's get into it then. I'm excited to hear about this list. It looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I should probably go into my matchups as well, if
Let's
that's
do it.
fine.
What you
Uh,
play
so
against?
so round one, I played up against Salad, and that's one that I'm really gonna talk about. But round two, I played up against Tri Brigade. Round three, I randomly played up against Blue Eyes, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then round four, I played against Adamantipator. I just want to talk about the Salad matchup really quick, because I'd say that one was like probably the most fun match I've had in a long time. He goes in match and rivalried me, and
Oh,
I ended up
jeez.
Yep, and I ended up just having Draco on the field. So he kept bricking, so I just kept attacking with Draco in for game, and this happened for both games straight. And like I could have easily lost that game because I forgot to side in back row removal. So I could have easily,
Oh.
yeah. But luckily he bricked both games, so I was able to take it.
That's kind of crazy, dude. I would like shit my pants facing a rivalry and it goes in simultaneously.
Yeah, it was rough. I was luckily able to take it. But yeah, those were the matchups.
That's kind of sick. You want to hop into the list now?
Sure, sure,
Hell
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. So first up we have Torn Scales, triple Torn Scales. This is like, in my opinion, and also the best player at my locals, Ricardo, he has said this many times as well. He believes that Torn Scales is like probably the best starter in Yu-Gi-Oh in like this era of Yu-Gi-Oh. And I'm sort of starting to agree just from playing the deck. It's so good. Basically getting a discard and getting to bait and ash, getting making them use an ash, because if you have another Phantom Knight in hand, you just discard the Phantom Knight, and if they ash, their ash doesn't matter because you still get the search off of your Phantom Knight, and then you can keep playing, which is crazy.
I'd agree in that
Next,
regard. People think they have to hand trap this card, but if you pitch a Phantom Knight, it's just like you're still comboing. You don't care. They better have another one.
exactly. It's just so good. And then triple boots. Boots is just your all around just best extender. I feel like two is incorrect. I feel like any other number other than three is incorrect. Just because sometimes in most combos, I have ended up using two in one combo. Like say for instance the boots combo. I mean the torn scales. Sometimes I'll have a torn scales and a boots, and then I'll discard the boots to bait their ash, and then I'll keep on going with the combo. Like that has happened to me a lot, and I ended up having to search for another boots and then go into combo again. So it's yeah, sometimes you end up using two in one turn. So I feel like three is definitely correct because then you can just search it for the grind game. You can search for that third copy for the grind game and keep on moving forward. Yeah.
I
Next is
go ahead. You're good.
Next is two cloak. People say that cloak is bad. I don't think so. It is basically a rota that you just have to send, and you have so many ways to send it. I feel like it is definitely two is the correct ratio though. You don't need three. You don't need one. Two is perfect in this deck especially. But yeah, it's just a really good card overall, and it's another card that you can bait Ash with when you have Torn Scales in hand. So it's just really good. Yeah. So next up is the one gloves and the one Stain Greaves. A lot of people don't play Stain Greaves for some reason. They need to get with the program. Stain Greaves is really good as like a backup plan or just like an overall extender in general.
What exactly does this card do? Because I play this deck every now and then, and I've never ran the card either. So, like, what does it add to the deck, I guess? I think it just lets you special a card from your hand and bump its level, right?
No, it special summons itself when a Phantom Knight is special summoned to the field, and you can bump up. Yeah, so it's basically a worse boots, but at the same time, say for instance, if you have boots in hand, already in hand, then you would just go with your regular Phantom Knight combo, and then you would search for Greaves instead of the boots because you'd already have boots in hand, and then you'd special to the field when you special summon either your boots or your Torn Scales. So it's just good to have. Yeah.
I actually never read the first effect that if you special, then you could special him. I always thought it was just to like use its grave effect for some reason. I'll definitely have to consider putting the card in.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely worth running. It's more of a win more card, but when you end up getting it off and end up having a boots in hand, it just feels so good. It also comes up in the grind game. Say for instance, if you end up drawing this in the grind game and already having like your searchers engraved like your cloak, you can just search for a boots, special summon the boots. Say for instance, if you don't have like any more Torn Scales to search or any other PKs, you can just search the boots or search for the Stain Greaves, summon the summon the boots, and then you can summon the Stain Greaves and like go into a break sword or what have you, like, or your Leviair.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, and then the Ragged Gloves, because it's a foolish burial. It's just, I feel like you have to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is Triple Tour Guide. I'd say this is a really good extender, but I mean a really good starter. But at the same time, Ash just kind of hates it. I considered playing two of this. I played two of it for a little while, and then I bumped it up just because I like seeing it. It helps you get into your BA combo. But yeah, it's a really good card. But I'd say just like Torn Scales is still better.
Yeah, this card just hard loses to the hand traps, whereas Torn Scales, depending on the discard, you still have full combo.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you just instantly have to pass when you get ashed. They ash your Torn Scale. I mean your Tour Guide. Next up is the one Graph, the one Seer, and the one Libic for the BAs. For the longest time, I did not play Libic, and yesterday was 2 hours before the tournament. I just threw in the Libic, and like I'm actually like, as I made another deck profile. And I had it in the deck profile as well, and then I took it out because I was like, I'm not gonna need it. And then 2 hours later, I just 2 hours before the tournament, I just threw it back in because I was like, I'm just gonna try it out, and it worked out so well.
Hell yeah, that's like perfect.
Yeah, in the Blue Eyes matchup and the Adamantipator matchup, I ended up bricking on one of the BAs. So Libic just came in clutch so hard. I was able to instantly keep comboing. and it was beautiful. Obviously, Graph summons the Seer, and then you just go into full BA combo from there. It's just really good. Now, next is a quite another questionable starter. To Mathematician. This is spicy.
Do you just send the do you send like Phantom Knights often, or do you send like the Edge Imp? What's the typical send with this card?
You send the Edge Imp. So basically, this starter is good because like basically you would send the Edge Imp, and then that gets you into full combo. It's basically just another tour guide, but it doesn't summon anything from the deck. It just sends you would send the Edge Imp, and if you're in the grind game and you already somehow have Edge Imp engraved, you would just send one of your Phantom Knights for the grind game and then get a search. So it's just really good for that. But yeah, the Edge Imp is just also really good for the grind game as well, because if you draw some like a dud in the grind game and then you have one of your PKs but you don't have another PK to extend with, you just summon the Edge Imp out of the grave, and then you just summon that PK that you searched, and then you can just go into a rank 3. So it's just
is that your target for tour guide too, the Edge Imp? Is that what, or do you summon a second tour guide?
It depends, honestly. Like if I'm going into the grind game and I still have and I don't have any of the BAs, then I will 100% choose the Edge Imp. But if I don't have the Edge Imp in the deck, I will just go for the other tour guide. I'm honestly thinking about throwing in a Sangan just so I can search for a hand trap.
I really like Sangan for that exact reason. And then if you draw it without the tour guide, it's kind of dead, but if you have any of your level 3 extenders, it's still pretty lit.
Yeah. Next up is 3 Kagemuchi Knight. Oh my god, this card is nuts. It's just really good. It helps me avoid Ash with any of my starters. And basically like I really like Kagemuchi Knight. For the longest time I was playing with 2, and then I looked into my store's binder and I just happened to find a 3rd. This all happened yesterday, by the way. Like I just looked into the binder and got a 3rd copy, and I was avoiding Ashes. In every one of my matches, Kagemuchi came up and I was able to avoid the Ash every single match. It was just hilarious. But yeah, I'd say you should definitely run Kagemuchi Knight at 3 copies, nothing less.
I agree. Card's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. Next up is 2 Junk Forward. So I feel like this card, like most people run 1, but since I'm playing the Isolde line, sort of a spoiler, but since I'm playing the Isolde line of the deck, like I feel like Junk Forward is really good at 2, because if you have nothing else, you can just go into Isolde with another warrior if you brick. So it's really good for that, and it is also level 3, so just a good level 3 extender. Next up is 2 Gilosaurus. Gilosaurus, just because I don't have Danger Sushinoko or Danger Jackalope, so they're just good level 3 extenders. Next up is a Dark Warrior engine. So a little story before I put these out as to why I play a Dark Warrior engine. When I first came into Yu-Gi-Oh!, the first deck I actually played was Dark Warrior. So I haven't been in the game that long. Just from you can tell just from like that, just from me telling you that, like I've the first deck I played was Dark Warrior, so I kind of just loved the engine ever since. And like,
how long ago was that exactly? I don't remember like the exact timeline of when that deck was kicking ass.
This was like back in like early 2019, back when it was like really busted and everything.
Geez, yeah, you are still definitely fresh to the game. I think I started in like 2013 or something.
Yeah, I haven't been in that long. So yeah, I play 1 Armageddon Knight and 1 Zephyros. So basically, with this combo, you can go into your Isolde line into Rebellion. You can go into Draco Future, and this gets you Apollosa all on the same turn. So it's just insane. And you don't even have to worry about the 400 life point pay with Zephyros, because next turn, if they do whatever they do, you're just gonna negate their stuff and kill them on the next turn. So it doesn't even matter. Next up is another questionable line. One Stratos and one E-Hero Stratos and one Destiny Hero Plasma.
This looks really interesting. What's the reasoning for this?
So the reasoning for this is a lot of PK lists that I've seen, they still have all their extensions and their extensions for follow-up, but I wanted something just in case my board was broken. I wanted to not only be able to extend into more monsters for a follow-up, I wanted to be able to go into something that could completely deal with whatever my opponent puts on the board that is good enough to break my board. So I wanted to have a good enough backup plan. And the way this combo works is you would basically, when you go into, the reason the Assault line is so perfect as well is when you go into Solde, you search into the Stratos and you have that for the backup plan, and that extra normal summon also gets you another normal summon just to use to yoink away the Stratos to go into Plasma. So it's just I guess I just wanted like an extra thing to seal the deal, to make sure that my opponent's backup plan that he uses to try and break my board, like, to make sure.
So you establish your board, and then, but when you make the Isolde, you use the search effect for Stratos, and then on your following turn, you Stratos into Plasma, summon Plasma.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
Right.
That also, like, it's a Dragoon out too, I think,
yep,
right?
It comes up so many times as well. It's just so good.
What a clutch lineup. That seems really sick, honestly. I kind of want to try it.
Yeah, it's really good. In my 60 card build, I wasn't playing the Stratos. I was playing the Shadow Mist, and I had a Dark Law in the extra, and I was playing the one Mash Change, and I was running 2 Mali, and then I was also running the Plasma. But in this list, since it's a smaller list, I just decided to go for the Stratos. So yeah, next up is 3 Ash for the hand traps, 2 Ghost Spell, and 2 Veiler. The reason I like the level 3 hand traps so much is because they work so well with the deck. Just because if you have a level 3, if you open nothing but a level 3 extender and a hand trap, you can just like go full combo just from those 2 interactions. And then the Veiler, because I'm too poor to get imperms, even though I own 3 Ash. So yeah.
So you would play imperm over it though?
Yeah, definitely 100. I don't know, honestly. Imperm is just, I like that extra effect to lock out the zone, I guess.
That would have came up in the matchup where you said you forgot the side and back row hate. You could have just impermed in the zone.
Yeah, exactly. That is it for the monsters. For the spells, I'm going to get into the equips that I use for Solde first. I played the 1 Phoenix Blade, the 1 Moon Mirror Shield, 1 DDR, 1 Noble Arms ARF, and 1 United We Stand. Divine Sword, because it's really busted. It helps you for you need this for the Zephyros combo, and you would basically have 2 warriors to banish. You would get back the Phoenix Blade. You would use the Zephyros bouncing back the Phoenix Blade, and then afterwards you would go into your Rebellion. You would set your rank up, and then you would equip the Phoenix Blade to your Draco Future, and then you just sit on that. And then your Draco Future would be 3,300 from the Phoenix Blade boost. So it's really good. Moon Mirror Shield, because it says I win any battle phase. So it's just good. DDR, I remember there was a funny little interaction when I was playtesting against my friend Jace. Basically, I ended up having this in hand, and I summoned Torn Scales. He had revolted into Shurag. Shurag banished my Torn Scales before I can get off the effect, and then I had DDR in hand, so I just
well, that's kind of nuts. You're like, hey, thank you for waiting till I didn't use the effect. Now I can do it this time.
Yeah, exactly. It was just really good. Uh, Noble Arms Arf because it's good for being able to pop not only a face down spell or trap, but also being able to pop up a face down monster. And it's just good to have, I guess, like another equip that actually does something. And then United We Stand because like I've actually ended up having this in hand when I make Apollosa, and it gives Apollosa just more negates and makes her even bigger.
That's kind of insane. You have like a
Yeah,
7,000 attack Appaloosa. Like, I'm negating everything you do.
yeah, it's gross.
Is there a
Next
reason why
up,
you don't play a living fossil?
I don't own any copies.
Would you play it?
uh, Most likely, yeah. I'd probably take out the Noble Arms, to be honest. Next up is the two Dark Ruler No More. I don't own any droplets.
I
So
feel
I
you
mean,
on that one. Me neither.
yeah, this card's good enough anyways, though. A lot of people are cutting this and not running droplets anyways, but I feel like you kind of have to run one or the other because they come up so much.
Yeah, it's like really hard to play into a deck like Drytron or Dragon Link without some sort of like a blanket removal for their board.
Yeah, exactly. And it really came up against the Adamancipator matchup as well, because basically he went into Apollosa, an Echuria Beast, the blocker rock monster that keeps me from summoning field spells. I don't know why he went into that, but basically I don't know why he went into why he didn't just go into Abyss Dweller either, because I knew he played. He showed me he played it after, and I was just like, why didn't you go into Abyss Dweller? It wouldn't have mattered anyways, but like I opened Dark Ruler both games and just broke his board.
Poor guy.
His fornication didn't matter. But yeah, it was really funny. Next up is the broken Saki one ofs. One Rhoda, one rank up Magic Force, one Foolish Burial, and one Call By. Rhoda's really good because it searches any level 4 or lower warrior type monster from your deck to your hand. I just have one question though. If Fossil Dig and Tinky can be at 3, why can't we get Rhoda back to 3? Like,
I kind of agree, dude. There's too many searchers, and I'd rather those searchers not get hit. Just give us at least 2 Rhoda. This card's so cool.
exactly. Next up, I play the Magic Force because it's just really good. It gives you an extra pop. It gives you a pop on your opponent's turn because you set this, you make Rebellion, and then on their turn, if they summon something or set something that you don't like, you just flip over the Magic Force on their summon, and then you just pop whatever they summon with Bardiche, because you would summon the Requiem in Bardish's zone, and he would just pop whatever they summon. It's a really cool interaction.
Requiem's in a gate 2, right?
Yes, Requiem is a 3 negate, not once per turn, not once per chain.
What?
Yeah, it's busted. People have cut the card, and I don't know why. It's just so good.
That's kind of insane. This card seems nice.
Yeah, it was the original Apollosa, basically. But next is the Foolish Burial, because being able to send any monster from your deck to the graveyard is kind of nice. And then the Saki Call by the Grave. I wish we could get this to 2 next ban list at least. But I mean, I have Kage Muchinite, so it kind of doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah, that card acts almost like one for this deck being able to chain block.
Exactly. But yeah, Call by to 2 would be nice. Next up for the extra deck, that's the main deck. It is obviously 52 cards. But for the main deck, I'll start off with the Link 4s, 1 Boral Sword and 1 Apollosa. I don't have an access code, so I just go with Boral Sword. But
That's the next best thing.
Yeah, I like Boral Sword's artwork anyways, and I just like dragons more anyways. But Apollosa it's just broken. you play this turn one because you can play this turn one because basically you would go into your Cherubini and then you would go into your Isolde and then you would use both of those to make Apollousa. And even though it is just a 2 negate Apollousa, you can still just sit on that with all of your other negates.
Yeah, it's not
So
just 2 negates, it's 2 additional negates on top of your Fog Blades and your Requiem and everything else you got.
yep. Next is for the Link threes. I play 1 Bardiche and 1 Unicorn. A lot of people are saying that they think that Bardiche should go back to the list. I don't think so. I feel like it's kind of good with everything else in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. It's kind of good, but basically this enables all your plays. You go into this every single turn, every single first turn, and this is basically a Foolish Burial for all of your Phantom Knights, obviously, and then it also gives you a Speller Trap set. So it's just really good. I almost for the longest time I wanted to make room for at least 2, but you kind of just don't need to, because with my philosophy is they're not usually, if they can break your board or at least get rid of some of your monsters, they're not going to choose the Bardiche. They always go for the negates.
And even if they do get rid of the Bardiche, if your Fog Blade goes to grave, you just recur him and do it again.
Exactly.
He kind of infinite loops himself. Every turn he gets you a Fog Blade, the Fog Blade brings him back, and you're just in the clear.
Yeah, it's just really good for many interactions. And then the Unicorn, because Unicorn is just so cool. I love the artwork. I love the effect. It came up almost every game yesterday, which was pretty insane. Sometimes it's just hard when you don't have that. Sometimes it's just you have to choose between either going into the Boral Sword or the Unicorn, and Unicorn was just more impactful yesterday. But yeah, for the Link 2s, the 1 Cherubini and the 1 Isolde. Cherubini's obviously just insane. I don't know why it's so good in this deck, but not as good as it not as good in BA.
Yeah, it's honestly subpar in BA. I really like playing that deck, and I don't even run Cherubini in my build.
Yeah, I always thought that was pretty funny. It's so good in this deck, but it kind of just wets the bed in BA.
Ebon Angel of the Phantom Knight should be his name.
Yeah. Isolde, because it's really good. This gets you your follow-up, this gets you your turn 1 Apollousa, and obviously you could play without it, but I like my list to be different than everybody else's, so that's why I play the Isolde line. And that is it for the links. For the Xyz monsters, so first up is the Zeus. This kind of dispels all of those poor jokes I made, because I did end up buying this. But basically, I thought this was more I guess needed in the deck more than cards like Dragoon, or more than cards like Access Code, mostly because I've made this so many times to the point where it's just, you could just sit on this and your opponent is almost always scared to do something because they know they're going to lose their cards. So it's just really good for those interactions.
Zeus is one card that I definitely would agree is worth the price point. The amount of value you're gonna get game to game that you play, it's probably more valuable than buying the Dragoon package. Access Code maybe could rival it, but I think Access Code also costs a lot more.
Yeah. And then but the only sad thing is that so many months later I hear that it's being reprinted in the Megatons. But we take those. You
got your store credits worth out of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I really did. It's helped me so many times. Next up is the Dark Requiem and the Dark Rebellion Siege Dragon. This package is insane. Most people don't run it because they're oh, it's bad because you have to run like you have to run an extra Xyz monster. You have to like take away an extra slot just to run a busted card. But I feel like it's 100% like worth it being able to get 3 negates as well as being able to steal your opponent's attack as well. That's kind of bonkers. Like,
And get the pop off Bardiche. That's 4 interruptions off one card.
and then the next is one Utopic Draco Future and one Utopic Future. A few PK players don't run this as well for some reason, for the same reason. And I like this card's busted. It is basically the Dragoon, like the Dragoon version for Xyz monsters, being able to steal your opponent's monsters and negate the effect. It's just really good. Like,
I think the package is really cool too, especially with the next XYZ you got, the Leviair. You're usually getting like a lot of value when you go into it. If you're extending with the Leviair, bringing like a banished Torn Scales back, now you're getting value in the grave on top of the Utopia you're making.
exactly. Like you can just and sometimes when I like don't need, sometimes you in this deck you won't even need to extra extend for both Leviairs. Sometimes I'll just make a break sword, like, and then I will just detach the break sword. That way I'll have something to summon off of the I'll have like a beater to summon off of the Fog Blade for follow up if I need it. And then that way, like, it's like sometimes you just like don't even need to overextend, which is crazy.
That is kind of sick.
Yeah, it's just a cool interaction. Two, Leviair the Sea Dragon. Leviair is really cool. Just because it gets back your banished monsters. For the longest time, when I was playing the 60 card variant, I was only playing 1, but I bumped it up to 2 in this current build. Also, speaking of Fog Blade, I actually forgot to run the traps. I just remembered. It's 3 Fog Blades and 1 Shea Brigandine. I just remembered I forgot to run the traps. That's pretty embarrassing. But anyways, moving on with the extra deck. 2 Leviairs, it helps you get back your banished. Most of the time you will go into both of these, but if you don't need to, then you can just make 1 Leviair, 1 break sword. That way you'll have that extra zone open in order to get that pop for Bardiche. Next is the 2 break sword. Another card that I was only running 1 of, because in the 60 card variant, I was also running the Sacred Beast package with 3 Beckoning Beasts, 1 Chaos Summoning Beast, and then the 3 Searchers. And basically with that, I ran it was Beckoning Beast is a 1 card Bardiche. So when I ran a Beat Cop in the extra deck as well, because you would go into the Beat Cop, then you would use the like the continuous spell to bring back one of your beasts, and then you would go into Bardiche from there. But like that's just way too, like, it's way too fragile to Ash, so I ended up just like cutting it.
I don't know what that engine does, to be honest. I just looked up Dark Beckoning Beast. What other ones do you play? Or did you play in that build?
I played the Chaos Summoning Beast, and then I played the it's the I can't remember the name right now, but it's the Gates card that searches the beast.
So those are just like a way to put 3 darks on field, basically, but they're susceptible to Ash.
Yeah, and it's technically not putting 3 darks. It's like you basically, so Dark Beckoning Beast allows you to additional normal summon a 0/0 fiend from your hand, and you would search off of that. You would additional normal summon the fiend, go into break sword, and then the continuous spell is a monster reborn for your beast. So you would just bring back the beast, and then you would use the beat cop and the beast that you summoned off of the reborn, and then you would go into Bardiche from there.
I see. That's pretty sick. But like you said, there is a lot of vulnerable points to hand traps, and they're not level 3s.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so if they ash you, you just have to pass on a 0 attack monster, and that was never good. So it's just, yeah. And that is it for the main and extra. For the side deck, I play I played 2 Drolls, two Lancia, one Nib, three Gamma Seal, one Pancratops, three Twin Twisters, one Harpy's Feather Duster, and so sorry that you guys have to hear this, but one Terraforming and one Mystic Mine.
So how did the side work out for you?
The side, like almost every card came up. Like it was actually really insane. Most of the time, I feel like I went a bit heavy on the Gamma Seals because most of the time I would only end up having to side in, feeling like I would have to side in too, and it will work out just perfectly. Basically, the Droll, it's really good for, especially for the mirror match and for Drytron, which there were Drytron players yesterday, but luckily I did not go up against. Luckily, I did not get matched up against any. Two Lancia because it's just really good against it's good against the mirror match. It's good against Tri Brigade. I ripped this against the Tri Brigade player, and it was just so good.
That card hurts when you're playing Try. You're just like, oh, I guess I'll pass turn. I'll try again next turn.
Yeah. One Nib. It's just really good. I only own one, so I only play one. But you know, I usually end up just like playing what I have. But just like Nib is really good. It's one of those one-ofs that if you own the only one of the card, it somehow always comes up for some odd reason.
Heart of the cards.
But, yeah, it's just really good. 3 Gamma Seal because I hate playing against Dragoon. This came up against Adamantipator, and this came up against Tri Brigade because they were running the Tri Brigade player was running the Dragoon package for whatever reason, which was really awkward. But yeah, I like it. It's just a really good kaiju. A lot of people ask me why I don't play Godarla. Well, because like I don't know, honestly. It's a good question, but like I guess I was just like Gamma Seal better because it's lower attack, so you can OTK over it if you're going second easier, even though you're gonna steal the attack anyways. It's just it gives you more damage in the long run.
And the Godarla makes sense if you're afraid of the wind statue, but there's not really decks that play it in this current meta. The bird up version of Tri Brigade is just like, to me, worse enough that like if they're playing it, I'm probably not even siding in the Gamma Seal. I'm probably just gonna beat them because they brick because their deck sucks.
Yeah, exactly. One Pank. I every time I sided this in, I never saw it. I guess because I don't know, honestly. I never saw it. I never ended up seeing when I sided in. I did main it in the 60 card build, and I would somehow see it in 60 cards.
But not in 52, it ain't it.
Yeah. 3 Twin Twisters because there's a lot of there's a good number of Guru players at my locals, so I prepare for them, and a lot of back row decks as well. Like I said, I don't know why I didn't side in my back row hate against Salet. I guess I was just having a big brain fart moment. I sided in one card against Salet, and that was the one Nib, and I didn't even see it that game. So, but yeah, I ended up winning anyway, so it didn't really matter. One Harpy's Feather Duster for the same reason, busted back row removal. My only question is, why can't we get this at 3 when we have a card like Lightning Storm at 3?
Oh, if both are at 3, I feel so bad for back row decks. I'm just not playing a back row deck ever.
And then the one Mystic Mine and the Terraforming. So yeah, this did end up coming up against this came up one time tonight yesterday against the Blue Eyes player, because he ended up getting Chaos Max on the board, and like he ended up getting like 2 Chaos Max on the board, and I ended up top decking in the Mystic Mine, and we just I ended up just like by the time he got them out, I ended up having more life points, so we just ended up going into time.
Oh, jeez. Mine him till time. You're a monster.
Yeah, it's so sacky, too, because it's just I just played the one and I pulled it from the top. And then game two, the last player just bricked, so I just ended up OTKing.
Why do you
So
play one Terra, one mine instead of two mine? Is it just so like you don't want to see the card twice? So
I only own one mine. So.
oh, so it's just like you could play two without having to pick up a second.
Yeah.
I like that. You make it work with whatever cards you got.
Yep. Yep. That's sort of always been kind of like my thing. You know, if I don't have a certain card, I'll look for the best card, like the next best thing to it.
I think that's like a really like, important perspective to have because there are a lot of people that'll just they'll play and then they'll get upset and be like, I lost because I didn't have this card. Well, you didn't lose because you didn't have X card in your deck. You lost because you didn't make the best out of what you did have. Like, if you don't have a card, find a new alternative or a new way to play that some other player hasn't found yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you have anything else you want to say about your list before we close out the video?
Um, I will say that I feel like uh, I would recommend that more people like try and give this list a shot and see how much they like it, because I love the list. I feel like it's definitely gotten to its peak. The more that I think about it, when I get the dangers, I'm definitely just gonna toss them in and see how that works. Because it will be nice to have those extra extenders.
And they get their effect when pitched off torn scales too. That's one thing I really like about them is it just like adds the amount of cards that are valuable to pitch off torn scale.
Exactly. But yeah, I want to say thanks again for letting me do the deck profile. It's honestly really cool.
I appreciate you coming on. This has been really fun too. It's nice getting to talk to someone new about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, it's really refreshing.
We'll have to do some sort of collab again in the future too. I enjoyed it.
Definitely. Like if you're down, like if you do any future streams, like maybe I could just like talk in the chat.
That'd be
Or
sick
something.
actually. I feel kind of awkward when I'm doing streams not having anyone else on. Just sitting there talking to myself for hours on end.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed the deck profile, make sure you go check out his channel too. The link is in the description below. Super GX. Thank you for watching.